Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. And this episode, I just wanted to take an introspective look, kind of look at why Kamala Harris lost the election. I'm Lady Trinette Wilson. I'm a social historian and etiquette expert, business expert. And I thought it would really be interesting for today that we cover the election. I want to thank everybody for liking, sharing, and subscribing. In this year's election, Kamala Harris and Donald J. Trump faced off. And it was contentious for the very, very beginning because she had to take over for Joe Biden, especially after his disastrous performance in the debate in June. Though she had been his vice president for 3.5 years, so she was very entrenched in the policies. In fact, she said she wouldn't have changed a thing. So she put her bootstraps on and she crisscrossed this country. You can't say the girl's lazy because she worked overtime during this year. But in the end, 312 votes took the presidency, and Donald J. Trump will now be our 47th president. Instead of her taking the oath of office for another 4 years, after this decisive loss, she'll return to her role as vice president. She hasn't given us any insight as to what she will be doing after leaving office, but I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of talk about what led to her loss, especially being the first African American woman to serve as vice president. And we're Royal Black and Elite over here, so we cover that kind of information. But also because she had a head start to some degree with her already having the presidency. So I wanted to look at a few factors that in my opinion, that led to her losing the election. To be honest, high prices. That was the first thing that they should have tackled as she began to run for office. There's no doubt in anyone's mind as they go to the grocery store, as they go to the gas station, as they buy houses, that I mean, the prices are astronomical. So when the media would tell people, "Oh, everything's good. You're not really feeling no high prices. Things are really good." People would look at their bills and say, "Excuse me, but yeah, the bills are high. Jobs are not as plenteous as you are claiming." And when they flooded the economy with all that money and then they just cut it off, with PPP and pandemic money and unemployment, when they cut it off, the prices were still at the level that they were during that time, but the people's money wasn't at the same level. So they didn't have a plan to address how they were going to deal with the economy. She did not do and if she didn't do a good job of communicating it. This opportunity economy, all these fluff words she was using, it didn't resonate with the American people. The next thing was illegal immigration. Despite the Americans' people repeated plea and complaining about the amount of illegal immigrants entering the United States, the Biden administration, the Biden Harris administration did not do anything to quell and to stop these people from coming in illegally. And I'm like everybody else. I don't have a problem with immigration. I think it's a beautiful thing for people to start their lives over again. But the illegal immigration had other consequences outside of people just trying to pursue a dream. And the American people felt it. And I'm in Texas, so we felt it even more. And so they didn't do anything until the very, very end. When the first day in office, he rolled back all of Trump's orders, the stay in Mexico orders. It was just very, very disappointing to see how quickly things got bad really fast, and have been for years now since their administration started. The beautiful cities that used to be beautiful are no longer beautiful anymore because of this uncontrolled illegal immigration. The next thing we see was crime. I mean, crime really hindered her campaign because I don't think they truly understand understood how the people felt under siege in their own communities. From smash and grabs to people coming and walking up and knocking out 80-something-year-old people, to juveniles running wild in cities and not being punished for it, zero bail. It was just a lot of stuff that happened around crime that wasn't being addressed. And she wasn't seen as strong standing with police officers or DAs or saying from the White House that, hey, this crime is important and we don't want our American people under attack. And she didn't do that. And I think it really cost her in the long run. The American people felt abandoned. So between the crime, between the shortage of money, and the illegal immigrant problem, she was already behind the eight ball. The other thing that she did, Walsh was the wrong pick. He was, because we were looking for strength as a country. He didn't come off real strong. She just seemed to pick the wrong people over and over and over again. And I don't know if she was picking them or her campaign was picking them, but Meg the Stallion opening up one of her first big rallies, that was not the look. I was in shock to see her out there twerking in front of people. And so black people were offended. That's why her vote standing amongst blacks went down, because over and over again they give us just stars to tell us how we're supposed to vote, and the black people just weren't having it this year. So I think that was a problem. Having Cardi B, a woman who is not an African American woman, telling black people to vote for Kamala, also a bad look. Hanging around with Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, warmongering, allegedly, daughter, didn't help as well. So I just think she kind of just picked people over and over and over again who just weren't the best people for the job. And then her platform, she didn't pivot when she needed to. She just kept talking about this reproductive health as if that was the only issue women were concerned with. She forgot outside of those people who were concerned with reproductive health, there were Christian women, Jewish women, all sorts of women that she could have appealed to, but she never pivoted. I don't know if it was her, I don't know if it was her team, but they gave her some really poor advice around that. And she never really saw the American people as truly the families that they were. She would talk always about her being from the middle class, but it looked like she was just from California with Gavin Newsom. I don't think she ever really painted a picture that she understood the American people. People who just love their families, who want to be able to pay their bills, go on vacation, buy homes, and live the American dream. For many people, the dream that they once had, it had actually turned into a nightmare. And even though she tried to paint the picture that she was a her family grew up middle class, even though she didn't. She grew up in Canada and grew up wealthy. The people just didn't believe it. I think the authenticity was hard to really pick up on her. And so, as she and her husband leave the White House for the final time on January the 20th, what is Kamala's legacy? You know, during the election, a lot of times, it's brutal. People bringing up all the bad stuff that you did and how horrible you were. But I have to say that she really stepped into a really tough situation. I bet she was just chilling, and all of a sudden she just got a call, though she had been already watching Joe Biden's decline, and she had to be quite ambitious to step in to the role of running for president without ever having a primary. It was just kind of given over to her without her really having to prove herself on the national stage. And those opportunities that she did, like becoming allegedly the border czar, and even when she said she was in the room to the end with Joe Biden in Afghanistan, and the decisions that were made around that, I think it hurt her all around. Not a real good politician, not a real good stomp walker as far as getting out there on the stomp and getting votes in that ballot box. So we say goodbye to Kamala. I hope that you learned a lot. I hope that you kind of see maybe why she lost, that it wasn't the sex, it wasn't race. It was really about the people's pocketbook. and them not having the money they needed to take care of their family. I think it was a politician long ago that said, it's the economy, stupid. So take care of the economy and the American people. I think you do much better in elections. I thank y'all for joining me. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I'll see you on another great episode of Royal Black and Elite.